Let me introduce to you how you can write C++ program using Dev C++, and of course we also explain the parts of a C++ program. So if you have Dev C++ on your computer, then go to Start of your computer, then search Dev C++. Once it opens, you can click this icon, which will give you a new window, or you can go to File, then New, then there is a source file there, which will give you a new window, or you can use Control N, which is my favorite, to get a new window. So let's just have Control N. This is a new window that you can use to write your code. It's called Editor. So in Dev C++ IDE, apart from the editor, as we said before, when we are looking at programming tools, we said Dev C++ or any IDE has got so many other tools. For example, here we have tools that can help us to compile our program, and we have also Profiler, and we have Debug. These are tools that we can use, for example, Profile to fine-tune our code, and the Debug to actually trace errors in our program. And there are other tools that you can also include in your IDE. But here we are trying to show you how you can write your C++ program. So this is how C++ program must be written. It starts with this. We are going to explain it. Okay, for now let's have it without that. So these are the main things that your C++ program should always have. For now, our C++ program is going to have a statement that is #include IOStream. We need this statement, so it should be including it because we are coming up with console applications. So for us to display our output on a console, in our console window, as we are going to see, we need this library or this line of code. And for us to be able to get values from the keyboard at this point, we also need this line of code in our C++. So we should do, or we must always include #include IOStream. Apart from that, we are having our actual program starting from here, which is the main. So this is also part, the highlighted is also part that shall always be there in our program. This is called the main function. We are going to see functions later. A program can have more than one functions, but one of the functions should be the main. So this is a must have. When we are running our program, in a case where we have many functions, our program starts executing from the main. If there was another function here, and another function here, another function here, or even other functions here, those functions do not be executed before executing the main function. So this one is the main, or is the first function which is executed before another function is executed. So for the good part of this semester, our code is going just to be written here, but later we're going to introduce to you how to use functions. So we'll see also how to write our program or our code outside this function. But for now, whatever code we're going to be writing will be here. If you want to write the input statement, output statement, the declaration, and even those expressions, adding numbers, subtracting numbers, we are doing them there. So that will be our place of writing code. Okay, so if, for example, we have to come up with a simple program, it can be just a program that should do display welcome to C++. So this is an example of output statement. the text which want to be displayed is put in double quotes. So that's how we write it, and we are using the keyword cout, and of course take note of std as well here. Yes, so this is a complete code. We can save it, save your program. We are going to save our program in documents. Let's put it in okay, we're going to put in lab guide must C++. So this is empty. If you come here, you find that this is empty as well. Let's just call this one main. So if you save it, that's main, and it's main.cpp. CPP is an extension for C++ source code. So this is a C++ code. And if I come here, now there's a file, which is a source file. Okay. Once I've saved it, I can compile my program. You can go to execute, then compile. Before we run, we have to compile. If I go and try to run directly, it will ask me that the source file is not compiled. So let's compile first. We can compile using that. You should also take note of this. There's compile, run, and compile and run. The icons there. If you use this one, it means it will compile first, and immediately after successfully compiling it, it will run. You can do the same using these tools up here. There's this, there's this, there's this. So we want this one for compile. If I click that one, let me check. I should be checking down here. If everything goes well, should be able to have success stories down there. So compilation results, no errors, no warnings, output file. As we said, C++ is compiled program, so it creates output file. This is considered as a source file, input file, a source file. Then we have an output file. So we can see that it's also pointing to the same folder, must C++, but there it has put another file which is not ending with CPP, but it's ending with the exe, of course, having the same name of main. So it has created an output file. So this is a file, the output file, which is application. This is a file which is containing the machine code. We've converted this into this. So if we are to run our program, we are not running this, but we are running this, which is the output file. So because now we have it successfully compiled, we can now run our program, and we'll get this window, which is a console window. And in this window, it's showing us an output. The output is only that line before these dotted lines here. These dotted lines and the process exited with after blah 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 will always be there, but our output will be the lines before this dotted line. So welcome to C++. It's displayed. To avoid always writing our program starting with std, C++ provides us with the namespaces. We can use a namespace we can include a namespace in our program to avoid having this one again and again using it. So we say using namespace std. So all functionalities that belong to this namespace will not need to start with the name of the namespace before we actually call or use anything that belongs to that namespace. So we can just be using the name directly. In this case, we don't need to qualify our code using std. We can now, with that line put there, of course, we can now have our line executed just like this. We need to compile it first because I've made some changes. Then we can run it. We see that our program is running without problems. Okay, and we also need to know what this means. So this line includes already existing source code there's a file somewhere which was called iostream, something like iostream.cpp, and that particular file has got or iostream.h. That particular file has got source code. There's code that will help us to be writing statements such as this. For us to be able to write, to use the cout, is because this cout belongs to iostream. We are also going to see cin for input. It also belongs to iostream. So we are able to use these guys because of this library. We call it preprocessor. So if you remember in unit number 1, when we're looking at the programming tools, there was one section where we are looking at the compilation process. And with the compilation process, we are saying it takes your source code and combines it with the preprocessor or already existing source code. So this hash include is including the already existing source code. In this case, we are only including the source code from iostream. So it will take the iostream, combine it with your source code that you've written to come up with an enhanced source code. It will be bigger because this one has got lines of code already. We've only written some few lines of code, but it will be combined with that one to create a very big source code. And it's that particular big source code that is now being sent to compiler. And the compiler is scanning through all the code and coming up with a decision to say, okay, I think there's no error. Let's say convert them into some output file, which is the main.exe, the one that we saw here. And afterwards, we are able to run our program. So this was introduction on the structure of our C++ program. In the next video, we are going to look into more about output statement and of course other statements as they come. See you in that video.